Yeah. Now are we ready to move over to the axis relating to others?
I am.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the CoPilot and 10-year-old. Again, looking at the car model, personalhacker.com/car model.
Yeah.
You can look at this this chart here to follow along with us and also get an owner's manual if you're type. That's a better way to do it because you go deeper into it. So let's talk about this. The CoPilot and 10-year-old. Axis relating to others. These two, so whatever your personality type is, your CoPilot is going to be the polarity opposite of your 10-year-old. And they come as a pair. So whatever it is for you in your personality. So what the archetypical energy here at the CoPilot is parental.
Mm-hmm.
John Beebe talks about this parental energy we carry here. And parental energy wants to parent and guide and discipline and correct and frame and help out. Like
and
genuinely wants the growth of something that's younger, and it wants it to flourish and be successful in the world.
Yep.
This is the desire of this energy. Let's talk a little bit about axis relating to others, though, which would make sense for parental energy to want to be focused outwardly.
Yeah. So the way that this shows up, this parental energy, is that, well, oftentimes people are waiting for the outside world to spark it. That's how it's part of the axis of relating to others, is that we're waiting for a need to come up that we feel like this part of us is the right tool for the job. And the reason why we always mention develop the CoPilot is what we're really saying is self-parent, right? Like use this function for self-parenting. And again, the self-love podcast, we went into what that means to self-parent and set better expectations. But the real challenge here is that not only are we waiting for the outside world to ping it, right, to activate it for us, but we also have a tendency to meet the world all the way where it's at without necessarily setting terms on our own. And this is a challenge that parents do a lot, right? Letting sort of the kid determine when you're going to parent. Like it's like reactive parenting as opposed to proactive parenting.
Or doing it for them, maybe. Like
or doing
over parenting. Like, well, I don't want you to have to do this on your own. I'll just do it for you to make it easier.
That's right.
You don't let them struggle or figure it out, right? You're over helping.
Yep, you got it. And so there's a bunch of theory that goes behind like how do you become a good parent and how do you how do you self-parent well? But in a relationship, it means that we might be handing over too much power to our partner when it comes to this part of us. And it might feel thankless because parenting is thankless. It's like we've mentioned this in previous podcasts, but the job of parenting is to, like spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and wake up at all times of the middle of the night to help your child in a variety of contexts, and then
for them to tell you, screw you, mom and dad, and like 15 years old.
That's right. And then become teenagers and become, like get into all sorts of trouble and tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. And then maybe, just maybe, if you're lucky and they grow up and have kids of their own, they might at some point go, you know what? Hey, thanks for raising me.
Right before you die.
Right.
You'll hear this message on your deathbed.
That's right.
Thanks, mom or dad, for all that hard work.
And somehow that made it all worth it, right? It's like, well, you're a carrier of my genes, so I guess my DNA at least is being spread.
We clearly don't do it for the rewards.
Right.
Like the direct rewards or gratitude. We do it for other reasons.
That's right.
Right? As parents.
And we don't expect a lot back. So in this part of who we are in a partnership, we might be giving maybe even more than we can. We might be meeting our partner all the way where they're at. And then kind of feeling like they're not grateful, like kind of taking advantage of us, even though we don't expect much back. So that's not part of the terms of service. But the expectation that we carry, the assumption we carry is that we're not allowed to set boundaries here. Just like is a parent allowed to set boundaries with children? That's kind of a sticky subject. And it's like, of course they are, but it changes, right? And if you're treating your partner like they're a child, a little kid, you're not going to set a lot of boundaries, right? Because you're going to be like, no, I need to just keep giving and giving and giving. And then you kind of feel like they're taking advantage of you because they're not actual literal children. They're an adult. They're your peer. So that's one of the biggest challenges with this being parental energy and the axis of relating to others is we might be giving too much away.
Give something away, but also there's this piece in parental energy where you might have an unconscious assumption that your partner is going to be as sophisticated at your parental energy as you are. We had a client who had an INFJ wife, and he said, is it common? Like he was asking about extroverted feeling or harmony. So an INFJ would have harmony as their CoPilot or this parental energy. And he basically was reporting that his wife will, with her harmony, commit to things in the community. Like, oh, I want to help out here in this community center, and I want to support the kids in the town this way, and like very focused with that parental energy to go out and parent in the community, which is a value and it's good. And I'm not criticizing that at all. He was lamenting, he said, but she assumes that I'm also going to be in on this. Like almost like, oh, and you're going to be helping me. Almost like you have as much a desire to parent in the same way that I do.
Yeah.
It's just an assumption. And she doesn't mean anything by it. It's just, it's so obvious to her that that's what you do with this energy. You parent into the world with it. Right. And so I think that's like the way it might show up in a partnership is, you know, somebody's doing what's obvious to them and assuming their partner is going to think in the same way. Like, this is what we do. This is what we give to the world, right? As a couple, it's like, no, that's what you give to the world because that's your parental energy. It's not mine. I mean, and again, it could be a source of conflict with couples.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I see there being quite a few potential traps here.
Yeah.
One of them is feeling like your partner is not grateful for all that you do with this function. And then also signing everybody up for things.
Yeah.
Going like, hey, this is what we do, right? Like assuming everybody's going to be as good as you are.
Yeah.
And so that could definitely, well, I mean, as in like you said, facing the world, right? We give this to the world. So all of us do that, right? Like we're all supposed to be giving this out. And that's part of how it's the axis of relating to others. Yeah, absolutely.